Hey you guys, it's MJ from All to Love. How are you? I want to do the full moon energy report. It is approaching, you guys. It's August 24th today, I believe. And so we're in the belt. Now, I also realize we're in the closing belt of the Lionsgate portal, which is always this sort of amplified transformational energy portal. And so that's closing down, and then we have a couple key planets that are stationing direct, which means that massive heavy duty retrograde season that we've been in these last few months, which of course on some divine miraculous level, retrogrades help us to review things in our lives, energies in our lives. So for all of us in different areas of our lives, we've been in review. We've been looking over what kind of energy do we really want to be engaging with? What kind of people do we really want to be? How do we want to live our lives? And how does that feel? And then, so a big piece that has been reflected back to me, and then the intuitive guidance that I'm really getting for this next kind of few days is to, one, really let go of the past, in processing different emotional healings that might be triggered around this time. And then in that regard, that we surrender it all. Surrender the pain, surrender the suffering, surrender all the old stories that we've been carrying, certainly the ones that we can see and that we know are causing us pain. And then just drop in really deep. And by that, I just mean really love yourself and really luxuriate. And that means self-care, the good stuff. Being really, really nice to yourself. The most loving mother that you could possibly imagine. That's how you talk to yourself, and that's how you treat yourself. So lots of self-love, lots of self-care. Any of the emotional wounding that's coming up, just fucking love it. Huge. And then release it and surrender it and let it go. And let go of all the energy and all the people, places, things, and circumstances that are going to be released from your life, that are going to be shed from your life in harmony, grace, gratitude, and thanks. And holy Wakanza! It's get ready, friends. Get ready for a tsunami effect of new manifestation and new things coming into our world. So increasingly so, we're experiencing more of our multidimensionality, and within that experience, there's a lot of simultaneity, and in that simultaneity, recognize that all you're doing is bouncing back and forth between two worlds, two perspectives, contrast, polarity. And again, unless we have the courage, my friends, the heart, the courage to really go to the depth of our emotional field, which means that when a trigger comes up, we don't just go, oh, whatever, fuck that, whatevs. We feel into what that trigger is showing us about our mental projections, about the past painful projections that we've been carrying. And the reason I highlight the pain is we all want the fluffy rainbow, goody, golden, good life, right? That's the only reason any of us do any of this spiritual stuff or healing or look, I totally messed the hair. The hair needs to be on this side, you guys. We endeavor all of this healing, this yoga, this stuff to feel better. That's the only reason we're doing any of it, right? And we can give our power away to different deities, we can give our power away to different people, we can give our power away to different institutions, we can give our power away to different whatever, our parents, authority, all that. And all of this emotional depth and all of this healing stuff and all of this spirituality stuff it's so weird and paradoxical, but it all just leads us back to our own self. And those basic teachings of knowing thyself and to thine own self be true, because there's really, in a sense, nothing outside of us. And yet there is infinity. There is an infinite plethora and layering of our own creative force field. The darkness, the lightness, the corruption, the beauty, the love, the pain, the separation, the unity. It's all right there in us, in our own experience. And until we give ourselves permission to penetrate the darkest field of energy that we carry within ourselves and honor the totality that we see and honor the oneness and the unity that we are, then this idea of transcension, basically, or transcending, this idea of ascension even eludes us because we're not plummeting to the depths of our own experiential reality. And it really is coming to this time in my life where I can just express, this is just how I've always lived my life, because I've never wanted to make people feel bad. I've never really wanted to put upon people. And hooking into law of attraction teaching is teaching us that it's all there in our emotions, but the emotional body is suddenly like tuning us into our infinite portal of potential, which is hella scary. It's scary because when we invoke that kind of loving energy, it just serves to purge every part of us that isn't owning that power. And I want to just love you guys and love myself and have so much compassion, because each time we get to this like next layer, there's like another tsunami wave of emotion that is there to be cleared. And I know all this emotional mumbo jumbo isn't necessarily for every human, and yet it maybe could be, because we're all human, right? And so we must all have emotion, and we are connected to each other, and we are reflections of each other, and to really embrace that totality and be honest with it. And that's like, that's what I'm hitting up against, is like the self-honesty of like, what are you really asking for here? And if I'm not clear, then start getting more and more clear. And yet, this is sometimes these weird paradoxes, is like the specificity is like an energetic one, and knowing of the deservingness that we feel inside our hearts, right? A knowingness of that deservingness right there in the purity of our heart. And then anything that isn't that, and anything that triggers the pain inside, just feel the pain and then let it go and let it be shed. And I can honestly say, like, when we get really good at just like holding space for a trigger, letting that trigger reverb through the energetic field, and then letting waves start to come up. It doesn't always happen like this, but this is often the case. It's like waves of emotions start to rise, and instead of fucking repressing them or distracting myself or doing something else, I'll be like, boom, boom, power down. Let that fucking wave come, yo. Let the wave turn into a storm. And then eventually there's like this divine point of voidal awareness that just literally lets the body clear itself out. And then there's just this peace, and there's like, we're good to go. And it is like that, and that's what inspired this share today, because I was like, oh my god, this full moon is monumental, especially because we've had these series of eclipses, right? And everyone's like, oh, the eclipses, and there's been this sort of like anticipation, this sort of momentum and anticipation, and it's been building and building and building and building, and then finally, like, we're at this apex of it. It's not at all what we thought it was gonna be. Every fucking control pattern is being triggered, and every part of us that isn't love is like, and so there's deep, profound healing, and at the same time there's like support. There's a shedding and a loss and a release and a letting go. And at the same time, there's like this beautiful birthing of a new human, a new beingness on this planet. That's the new paradigm. It's like really, really, really more and more and more people are like, are seeing their deepest desires being birthed and manifested. And then we're moving into that threshold now. So it's like, and this is, again, the paradox of it is like, it's nothing what we ever thought. And certainly I'm realizing it's like everything I thought I was chasing is now just like, and then there's nothing. And it's just this void. And my connection to the source that I am. And like everything, and weirdly as well, this massive shift is like, reality has become a lot more fluid. Does that make sense to anybody? It's like moving with energy is like more probably like just floating around in the ocean than like trying to pave your way on the pavement. Boo, 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 boo. Life now, it really has. Life has become just this sort of like ebbing and flowing of energies. This spiral, which I can safely say is always getting better. And yet each spiral, within the waves of the spiral, there's these points where you're hitting up against different themes and challenges for your own soul's growth that are like, and then you keep going up and down, but you're always kind of moving upward. And the cycles are going from a small cycle. I guess this is like the ascension path versus the descension path, which many of us, we could probably accurately explain what the descension path is. But then the ascension path, there's the wave. And so we start to relinquish the rigidity of mind control and like just be a lot more merged with the feeling essence. So we start to notice that there's these patterns, these ups and downs, and each up and down and cycle is helping to outwork that limited false perception or distorted perception or parts of us that don't really align with what our highest self wants for us. And so and then eventually you just realize, yeah, that's all there is. I'm just riding it out and hitting up against these like points, which are usually people, let's be honest. It's one another who are our greatest teachers and our greatest like trigger points for these healings to occur. It's not necessary, and this is where we have to detach from the ego or from outcome or from expectation, because it's like, and this is part of like, go deep into your emotional field. Keep sitting with those emotions until you penetrate into your void, into your divine void, right? Because so often we get trapped in the loop of the projection, right? And then that often still hooks it in. And I'm witnessing that and just being honest with you guys. Like recently, it's just been like dropping deeper. There's still these trigger points. There's still these reflections happening. And again, this is the simultaneity of it. It's like I'm feeling this incredible release with these profound storms still coming through. And yet the relief of knowing that the storms are coming to an end, sort of, and like feeling the upturn energy of new opportunity and newness and spaciousness and like abundant flow like I probably never imagined possible, and knowing that there's a receptivity now, so there's an allowing of it to come in. And the shedding is still quite painful. That's just being legit. Like the releasing of the old patterning, the letting go of fantasy, the letting go of projection in any way, like as in future and linearity, like hooking timelines into a linearity. Like that's painful when you have to unravel a fantasy, right? Like it's always going to be a bit like, yeah. But we're good. You know, once you start kind of owning how you work with your energy, I guess the shift is really that you can keep showing up for yourself. And I ended up like dropping in, doing some nice yoga practice and doing some just like letting loads clear out. And then I'll just finish off with this juicy nugget. So, do you love my new sweater? So it's like my higher self just knew that this week was going to be a bit much for sensitive little malls. And so what do? Last week and the week before, I just started clearing out my closets. I started giving loads away to charity. I was like, I need a cleanse. But then I was like, well, if I cleanse, then I'll need a few little goodies to top up. So I went on eBay. As you guys know, I always buy secondhand or just get given stuff. And yeah, I found some nice things at eBay. And then today was when the storms were properly like washing through. It literally like had a moment where I'm like, "Blah!" and like felt this massive waterway just like gush out of me. It's the graphic details of emotional storms. But then the beauty is witnessing like divine fucking beautiful Christ energy just like reverberating through your whole being, which is also just divine and gorgeous, you guys. Anywho, so I'm like having this emotion day, supporting myself through the waves of past childhood trauma. And then actually pretty much while I was like upstairs, I could hear the postman deliver some goodies, like a whole bunch. And I arrive and like I have like a really cool pair of like pinky high-waisted jean shorts, like, and they're lovely. And they're like, oh, by the way, they randomly, as soon as I tried them on, I was like, oh my God, there was a girl, a festival chica. So way back when I started proper getting serious about positive manifestation and doing all vision boards and stuff, one of the vision board photos was a girl in these like sexy little pink high-waisted like sexy little cutoff shorts. And so I'm trying them on with this like little crop top and I'm like, oh, it's the girl from the picture. I just spat. It's the girl from the picture. It's the girl that from the picture of the festival. I'm like, I've become the person I desired to become. And holy shit, did it not at all happen how I like thought it would. But am I feeling more liberated? Yes. Am I feeling more empowered? Hell yes. And am I feeling really much more acutely aware of like the energies that I deserve versus the energies of what my program taught me I deserve? And I'm like, yeah, I think I deserve what I believe I deserve and what I know I deserve and what my higher self thinks I deserve and not the other. And here's the thing, you guys, this is a bit of a big breakthrough about surrendering and then letting go, is that let's just stop making excuses for one another. If people's behavior is just a little bit poor or not very nice, we don't need to make excuses. Yeah, they're such a good person. We're all fucking good people because we're all just human. Okay? We don't need to make excuses. If someone's behavior is a little bit dodgy, they're a little bit dodgy, and that's okay, because let's put our hands up and just admit we've probably all been there. We've probably all done stupid shit to ourselves and one another and might continue. So let's just shift focus and try our best to be good. But stop trying. Just accept yourself. That's how you practice just being better. Just accept all of it. And then I'm finally, this is part of like the new flow of having a bit more space and clarity for you guys. It's that practical action is useful. So let's get ourselves unplugged from mainstream and social as best we can. Let's get ourselves not wasting and consuming so much unconsciously. Let's get our bodies a little bit cleaner, so that we can enjoy ourselves as well. And but also for the animals, guys, girls, we do need to stop murdering innocent creatures. Just senselessly. I'm just talking the senseless murder. Okay, fine. If you're like gonna die tomorrow and you need to slaughter an animal. Hey, Keith. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you need to do that, I'm not gonna stop you for your own well-being. But most of us really don't need as much as what we're consuming, and I'm more and more acutely aware of it. And like, hence, I seem to be on this path where if I commit to something, I do it. And hey, yay! And for a long time ago, I just committed to this thing called the new paradigm, where I was like, come on, people, like, don't we just all desperately want to see more compassion in the world? And then I endeavored to like try to be all squeaky clean compassionate. It's not really worked out like that, but I am a happier person, and now I have these courses, which I'm so excited to share. Why? Because it's like just cutting through the bullshit, being, okay, let's try to just do better. And by doing better, it means let's stop consuming as much. Zenful Zero Waste, that's our first course that we're launching. I don't actually know the order, but the other one is teaching you guys more about veganism. And then the other one is Spirituality Simplified. So I try to give you a really clear-cut breakdown of what spirituality is to me, and what tools and tips have helped me along the way, and then cut out all the other bullshit. And unplugged, of course. And I've just unplugged more. Like, this is it, you guys. This is the only place I'm sharing on social. So it's like I've totally cut out. Did you hear that? My door. Someone just knocked on my door. So I'm going to go, you guys. I'm going to go answer my door. Love you loads. Have an awesome day. Keith, thanks you so much for joining me. I so appreciate having the love here. Bye, guys.